TEDxXIME. Indeed, a big honor to be here with all of you. And thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Sri Venkatesh. And thank you, Akshay, for all the love, help, and support. I'm Dhanya Varma. I'm a talk show host. I started my career as an intern with Star TV, like he mentioned. But in my previous avatar, if I consider that so, I was a Hindi newscaster with Star News, being a Malayali, and I was also a producer with Star TV. I've also had small stints in advertising and copywriting and ad filmmaking, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and that was a great experience. But right now, I'm a talk show host. For all of you who are not familiar with the show, The Happiness Project, it's a format of an interview. We bring in 3 different personalities, and by different personalities, I mean absolutely different personalities from different walks of life in one show. And I talk to them. They talk to me about their life stories, they share their happinesses, their sorrows. In fact, the content is very inspiring. When we started on this show, we never imagined that it would be so popular and so much loved. So if you have not seen it, please look it up. But when I talk to you today on this subject, which is success through synergy, I would be addressing it from the perspective of a talk show host and in the context of television content creating. How does synergy happen on a talk show, on a television channel? Success, as we know, we cannot define it. What is success to me is not success to you. I define success as something which is the ability or the capability to do what one loves to do, whether it's in personal space or in professional space. But that not be success for you. In television terms, success is very easy to define. It's all about numbers. How many people have watched the show because TRP? How many eyeballs? What kind of brands are endorsing it? How many brands are endorsing it? What's the kind of revenue you get through ads? That pretty much defines the success of every show. In those parameters, the show that I host is certainly a successful one. The viewership runs into lakhs, people love the show, and all that. But for all of us who work on the team, as a part of the team, success is not this, it's something beyond this. I'll share an example with you. I have numerous people writing in fact, almost every day on Facebook and Instagram accounts that I have. So I take the time to reply to each one of them if possible, and I chance upon this letter, which completely shook me to the core. It was a young man living with his mother. They didn't have a father. They were struggling each and every single day to make ends meet. They didn't have finances or the emotional support. And for him, this young man, Happiness Project was the one which was giving him the energy and thrust to deal with his daily struggles. I was moved to tears. And that day on, the way I looked at this particular show and the impact of this particular show, the way I defined the success of the show completely changed. So how does synergy fit in? Where does synergy come in with a show? Of course, it always begins with people. It's always about people. How well you do in life is defined by the people you are with. Whether it's your family, it's your peers, your colleagues, your friends, everything depends on people, everything depends on relationships. Do you agree with me? Yes. So, on the team, we have a wonderful bunch of people, from the creative head to a team of producers, and we have an eclectic mix too. We have an anchor, we have an actor, we have a PR person, an artist manager, a production controller, a stylist, all on the team. Now, these are essential ingredients for any team, but our roles were not limited to those particular tasks or profiles. All of us used to generate and contribute, and this WhatsApp group that we had was like a melting pot of ideas, of conversations, sometimes clashes. We used to fight about whom should we call, what should be the content, how should we do this. And these were people from different profiles and who had nothing to do with television hardcore content production. So this is how the amalgamation or the synergy happened within the team. For any team too, and now I think I'm venturing into the management space. The management space, I'm not very comfortable with the jargon, so Please allow me the leeway to just explain it the way I see it. For a team to function, I think the essential ingredient is trust. If you don't trust your teammates, everything is lost. The second is an equal platform to share ideas. Hierarchy exists, but if you can overlook the hierarchy and pull in ideas from across the spectrum, I think it works wonders. Then the most important part is the collective responsibility or the ownership. If as a person or the lowest most person as per the power positions is able to take ownership of the show and say that this show is mine and I belong to the show, it again creates magic. And the most important factor here is focus. Do you have your focus right? Why are you working on the show? What is that you need to contribute towards the show? Are you working for TRPs or are you working to make a difference? Because the show is all about making the difference in somebody's lives. So if that focus is accurate, I think that is what the crux of any successful project, company, organization is. So that's what happened on the team. Now these are more like the tangibles. How do you go into the intangibles? There were so many intangibles on this show. How do I explain it? Well, I'm the interviewer. I have a guest who's the interviewee. We have had more than 161 guests on the show. They were so vastly different, but there was one thing which was common through all of them. And that was the fact that I didn't know any of them. Nobody knew me. I didn't know any of them personally. I was meeting them 10 minutes before the shoot. We had a light chat, and we would go to the sets. So how do you get so comfortable in order to get into those uncomfortable spaces where I will probably delve into the personal spaces, maybe talk about a divorce or a separation? How do you do that? Again, there was this magic called synergy. I think synergy played a part in the whole process. When the person comes to the sets, of course, it's with an element of trust because he believes that, yes, we will do justice to the reason why he is here. That portion is taken care of. But on my part, how do I build the rapport? Okay, I used to carry this, imagine a potly, a small bag, which is a virtual bag, and I would carry this bag with me. It would sit behind me on the sofa, and that is my imagination, okay? It's not real. So this bag is all about facts and figures that I gathered on the net about the personalities who are coming on the show. That is extensive research, so it's there. And then I sit there, and visualize you have a person in front of you, you have collected the facts. I have to remove all the prejudices and the baggage that I carry from my head. So I have a blackboard in front of me and I wipe myself, the blackboard absolutely clean, so that I start with a blank slate. When I start with the blank slate, I get to flow, to travel with the interviewee, to know his journey through his own eyes. It's a kind of a dance. It's like a synchronized dance. I flow along with him, nudge him a little, push her a little, go this way, go that way, but I'm essentially, in my mind, dancing with them. And that creates a beautiful moment. The other part is that, of course, you need to actively listen. Now, if you need to actively listen, you need to keep your smartphone aside. That is when active listening happens. And if active listening is happening, then your relationships improve, your relationship with friends, peers, spouses improve, your relationship with your guest also improves. So you're listening to this person because all of us, deep down, how big or small we are, we all want to be heard and we want to be understood. So if you're understanding the person, you need to put in all your energies there. And the third is empathy. All my life, I cursed myself for being a very sensitive, very emotional person. I would break down to tears. I was too sensitive for my own comfort, and I used to curse myself for that. But that very personality trait helped me here, because this empathy, the ability to see people through their lives, see their lives through their own eyes, I think was a big bonus. And the most important thing here, and that again is a quality that crosses all boundaries. I mean, any area you work in, if there is no respect, there's nothing. If you respect the person and you understand where the boundaries are kept and you try not to push the person too hard, sometimes tiny door opens, and then you're let inside. And this mesmerizing inner world of the guest opens up. So this is the surreal aspect of it, which I can't really place my fingers on, but this happened. This was the part where synergy happened again. And so now I would move on to another aspect of this intangible portion of it. Now I have an interviewee here. Imagine a guest sitting right here. You're sitting in your living room and you're watching your TV. The guest and you have no relationships, what relationship at all. I have to transcend this boundary, which is socio, political, economic, religious. These are all barriers that exist between the viewer and the guest, right? So how do I do that? The essential word here is connect. How do I establish that connect? Now, connect can be established in two ways. I can be the viewer. I take the place of the viewer, and I ask my guest questions that the viewer would like to ask. That's one part of the process, which is relatively the easier one. The other part of the process is where I cease to exist. So again, it's the movement of ideas which is happening. I'm ceasing to exist, and I'm trying to be the mediator for the ideas to flow to the viewer who is absolutely in a different environment. So how does this flow of ideas happen? This flow of ideas happen because of two reasons. One, emotional reasons, the emotional connect, and the other, the intellectual stimulation. Now, if we are all human beings, over the years we have been taught to how to handle, how to go numb. I mean, not react, not be emotional about things. But when a person you really look up to or you have respect for shares his innermost feelings, the same troubles, the anxieties, the happiness, the sadness, the memories, you're literally going on a trip with him down your memory lane. You're excavating your emotions and traveling in that journey with him. That's synergy. The other part is the intellectual synergy. Because when, I remember, we had this spectacular guest on the show, Mr. Maitreyan, he's a social activist. And I asked him this question, what is the purpose of life? I did not ask this question as the Dhanya Varma today. I asked this question as a 12-year-old. When I was 12-year-old, when I was a 12-year-old, I'd written a poem asking about the meaning of life. It's very silly, okay? But that 12-year-old came into me when I saw this man who was far beyond in wisdom than me. I posed the same question, and he said, the purpose of life is living. There's no greater the purpose to life than living. How you put in quality into your living is what makes the difference. And for me, it was an intellectual high. I was on a trip. And I'm sure all the viewers at some point in time would have connected with different guests and different people at various different points in time, asked the questions through me, or heard it from them, or gave answers to the guest questions in their minds. So this is where the idea, the synergy, the relationship, the beautiful flow, the magic happens. Now I'm coming to a part which is the personal side of me. Okay, I'm sitting on this chair. I'm 40 years of age. And when I'm sitting here, I carry a set of life experiences behind me. I have lived in several states. I have studied in more than 11 colleges. I speak, read, and write 3 languages, and I understand a few more. I have studied in Pune, Bombay, met a bunch of people, and have understood that humanity is about goodness. There is more goodness than bad. It's important to tap into that goodness and get it out, because media is not always about goodness, sorry to say, and I'm a media person. So I have 3 children. I have lived the life of a single woman in Bombay, had lots of fun and frolic as well. So I have been through certain life experiences that give me a perspective on things. I would like to share this experience, which is probably what made me who I am today. I was not meant to be an anchor. I never wanted to face the camera, let alone face people. So being very shy in nature, I said, when I was offered the role of an anchor, I said, no, I can't possibly take this on. It's too difficult. No, then the boss said, no, I mean, I understand that you don't speak Hindi. I understand that you're not from news background, but give it a try. So it took me a year and a half to get back to him and say, okay, I can give it a shot. But for this year and a half, what I did was 6 a.m., local train, Mumbai, there would be people staring at this 22, 23-year-old girl who would be reading Amar Ujala and Dainik Bhaskar out aloud so that the language fits on my tongue. In the newsroom, which is a news channel, so we have a newsroom, we have scripts. Almost all the packages used to go with my voiceover. People were sick of it. Practice, practice, and practice till you get it perfect. And finally, I was launched. And I used to probably handle all the live news shows in the morning slot. That is from prime time, 6 a.m. to sometimes even 2 to 3 in the afternoon, where all the breaking news used to happen. And that happened too. The purpose of saying this little story, which I consider for me a big achievement, coming from Kerala, not being able to speak the language, handling live news on a national channel, I think for me it's an achievement. What I would like to say is, if you're committed and if you focus right, and you know your limitations, and you keep pushing and learning, you eventually grow and get where you want to go. This is what should be the ideal point where everybody works together in order to learn, to grow, to focus right, and get where you want to. And that cannot be done single-handedly. There are a lot of factors which come in. So when I sit on that interviewer's chair and I'm talking to this person, I carry a lot of experiences with me, and probably that helps me understand the diverse kind of people who are sitting on that seat. This also is synergy, because it's a synergy of all the experiences that you have gone through. Synergy is a beautiful word, where the creation of a whole is greater than the sum total of its parts, right? I would like to take this thought forward. I would like to understand this world as it is. We have divisive factors in our society which break our society on the basis of religion, caste, greed, politics, you name it. It's all out there. If there was a God sitting up above and he's watching this wonderful creation of his called mankind, he would be wondering, why the hell aren't they holding their hands and synergizing and working towards a better place for mankind, a better planet for all living beings on this planet? So let's all synergize in our own individual capacities. With that thought, I would like to wrap up. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you.